Yo, welcome in. Last year, we made our clients, or I made my clients, over £1 million in profit, Great British pounds in profit through inbound organic content, meaning we did all of that through no ads, through just posting on Instagram. All of our content is creator, founder-led content, so people selling their own products online, and we made over £1 million in profit last year. And in this video, I want to make it really simple on how we did it because so many people come out here and be like, oh, it's this crazy fucking funnel or this crazy ad strategy or this crazy appointment setting thing. And those things can work. I'm not bashing any of those. But the thing that really made this happen for us was the 4 steps of story selling. Using stories to sell, all right? I know you've seen the storytelling trend on social media and how really good creators are using that to build like movements and cults around their followings and their brand and everything they do. And in this video, I want to basically show you how I use those same principles, applied them to business, applied them to growing a business on social media and using to post content, how I use it to make my first money, how I then use it to make clients their first bit of money, and then also how I use that to basically scale up a portfolio to over £1 million in profit, which is pretty fucking cool. So I want to speak to you some things right now. The first thing I kind of want to speak to, I want to give you some context of my personal journey. I've been posting on content for so long. I've been posting basically on the internet since I was a kid. But this personal Instagram account, I've been posting for 4 years. And for the first 2 years of posting, I didn't make a single bit of money. I was always trying to make money. I'll make that clear. I was always trying to do it. Like, not like just make money by any means, but I was always like very conscious of the fact that I didn't want to go to university. I'm currently 19, by the way. I was always very conscious of the fact I didn't want to go to university and I did want to make money online doing something that I loved. So it was very clear for me since I was like 15, 16, that I was like, if I post content, I can use it to make money. I didn't know how, and what I was trying at the time was just posting trends, what everyone else was doing, basically copying people, and also doing very hard CTAs to digital products that I was trying to sell, clothing that I was trying to sell, e-com that I was trying to sell. I was trying to sell everything, right? And I was literally just doing what everyone was telling me to do, and none of it was working. I kid you not, in 2 years, I made £5 of my business revenue through content. £5 fucking. £5. You know how demotivating £5 is? You probably know, you've probably gone through that situation. Either you're not making money at the moment and trying to learn how to make your first sale, or you are making good money right now, but you have no idea how to get to that next level. I'm going to speak about this right now because you probably understand as well that the worst part about this is that posting so much and trying to CTA to different products all the time is it just feels so inauthentic, and you don't know how to move your audience to the next level without burning them out, without feeling like a guru the whole time, without being a little schmuck just begging for sales. And that's basically what I was doing at this point as well. And it just felt like I was so frustrated, and you could kind of hear it in the way that I was speaking, and that my audience would not understand me, I couldn't understand them, and everything was just like a total big mess. And that's why obviously you can see I was getting like 400 views, 300 views consistently, like even though I was posting every single day, like literally each of these is every single day, but just again absolutely terrible views. And basically I got to the stage where I was like, oh my days, fuck this, like what is going on, why are my audience not understanding me, what would I have to say if I were in their situation? And then that got me thinking, which is one of the first principles of story selling. I'll tell you, there's 4 steps of story selling. One of the first ones is how I kind of like naturally stumbled across it by just like masterminding and sitting and actually thinking from a human nature perspective, what would I need to say to have my audience actually understand me? And then it got me down the rabbit hole of like, okay, what stories do I have that connected to where they are right now? What can I tell them to make sure that they kind of understand and relate to the situation that I was in, so then I can help them? And that's step 1 of story selling, which is meeting your audience where you are. One of the best things that you can do if you're trying to sell on social media, instead of being a guru that is just telling people what to do, is just be a leader, right? Be someone that people can relate to, people can actually like, people can actually trust. How are you going to do that? You're not going to speak at them, you're going to speak with them. I know what it's like, where you're just like, you're there, you feel like you have a really good message to share with people, and it comes across like you're annoyed with them. Like, you can come across passionate like I am right now, and probably like almost aggressive. I'd say passionate aggressive is a really good way to speak, but you don't want to come across like you're annoyed at them, or you're blaming them, or you think it's their fault that they haven't succeeded. You need to be able to connect with them, understand where they're at right now, what they're going through, and then help them to get to their next stage. Because that's what I'm going to say here. Is like, without kind of spoiling the rest of my things right here, speak to one person, right? Understand that person super, super well, and then lead them. Because one of the most important things you need to understand about story selling and using stories to sell, which is one of the most important things we used to make over £1 million last year across the content that we posted, is simply just story selling makes the viewer feel understood. I know you've seen it where you've met a person who just understands you so well. They have the same favorite color. They support the same sports team. They have the same phone. They listen to the same music, and they explain their reasons. And it's like it's the exact same niche reasons that you tell yourself, right? That is like the feeling of, holy shit, that person gets me. I feel understood. There's an underlying level of like trust and connection that's built up on that exact moment, and that simply comes from having the same kind of shared past experiences and meeting someone where they are, which is basically what that means, okay? Because when you can do that, you have someone's attention, and when you have their attention, you can then tell them a story to move. I was doing this, and that was pretty much one of the first principles I was doing, to basically go from not making any sales to then actually making some sales. Like back at the start was like, I made a big transition of which you can visually see it, which is pretty crazy, but you can see with this type of content right here, I was just speaking to no one really. And with this type of content, I was speaking to one person really, really specifically. And I would say if you're at this stage not making sales yet, that's the biggest thing to focus on. Speak to one person really, really specifically and understand their pains, problems, and desires like to the deepest extent. And just speak to that one person, which is most of the time is a past version of yourself. And then through that, you can make them feel understood, which then makes it very easy for them to reach out and speak to you and just actually get genuine help on what you're trying to do. And then if you're good at sales, if you're good at speaking to people, you have a good product, you can sell someone and move them to the next step, basically. Because that's what I did here. When I was posting this content and it started to do well, obviously you can see the views increasing because I was speaking to one person. So it was getting more attention. I made like 2.1k in this first month of this succeeding with like 1,000 followers at the time, basically from people that asked to pay me because they would see these videos, then they would like, as you can see right here, they'd see these videos, they'd comment a specific word to get like a guide from me, like a bit more value, because again, I was like, made the steps really easy, which is another principle I'll talk about in just a second. But I was like, cool, I got their attention because I connected to them. Then I would make it really easy for them to kind of get the next step from me. I would open up a conversation. I'd be like, yo, can I help you with anything more? And they'd be like, yes, actually, could you please? Like, I would love to just buy an hour of your time. And I'd be like, cool, brilliant. An hour was great, but 4 hours is better. And they were like, yeah, you're right. And I was like, and then I was just making sales. I was making money just like that. Like, cool. When someone trusts you and understands you and buys into you so much, it's like, it's so easy to sell them something. Very important that you actually deliver once that happens, because if you do, you have clients for life. Then getting into the second part of this, like brilliant, if you're making then a few sales, like what allowed us to go from like, well, first of all, going from 0 to making like 2k to then making that consistently to 2k, 3k, 4k, 5k consistently, and then took us to 20k days, like with the clients that we're working with, is basically having a clear direction as an authority, right? You have to be able to, yes, lead someone, but then direct them in a specific in a specific way as an authority. This is where you need proof, right? To be really good at story selling, you need to have proof that what you're talking about is real, because then more people will buy into you, and it's also going to allow you to actually almost change the way people see the world. You can use story selling to do exactly that. I'll probably have some more videos going specifically depth into specific parts of this, because I realize I'm already speaking for quite a long time. In the description of this video, by the way, you're going to see a guide that you can get the 4 steps of story selling, where I'm going to give you the live, like I basically sit down and break down like each section of it into 5 to 10 minute videos, and I show you how you can script a story selling video live, so you can get all the 4 steps in the description completely for free. Just put in your name, your email, and I'll send it to you straight away. So I'll save that for them, because I explain it way better, way simpler than where you can just go through the entire process, get all the value, and just like script out these videos live. But getting back into what I was saying, once you can have that script, basically, the more time you put it out, it's like consistency isn't just about posting every day. Consistency is about consistency of messaging and consistency of the person that you are. So if you are an authority in the way that you speak because of what you achieved, basically the way that I started this video, making my clients over £1 million last year, like that's undeniable authority that I've done what I've said. And then like yours doesn't need to be at that crazy level. You just need to have some proof that you're right, basically. You can then have people consistently see you as this leader that then they're going to listen to and basically be directed in different decisions in different ways, right? What I was selling at this point, again, was storytelling, story selling. And I had to direct people away from like typical content guru bullshit into a new way, which meant that I needed an underlying level of authority, which came obviously from leadership, then being able to be actually have an authority to direct people in different directions. And again, that's so powerful because when you can do that, people will buy into you consistently and see you as the only option. This is like having a mechanism that is yours, having a one-of-one mechanism. Because if you sound like everybody else, it's like, why would someone buy into you specifically? That you need something that separates you. You need proof behind it, you need stories behind it, you need leadership behind it. So someone can buy into that. Right? Because then you do that over a long period of time and then you're like actually undeniable. People can actually just come and buy it from you when they know they have a specific problem. And it's like, that's the best situation to be in because they're coming to you and they can't go to anybody else because you're the one that solves the problems because you connect to them the best way. Right? And the final thing I want to speak to is like, how that scales is like you know, a lot of people will get to the stage where this is actually really, really important for a lot of people, you know, especially if you're at the kind of like 10 to 20k a month mark, and you're trying to get to higher levels basically, you know, we ends up doing 20k in single days, 40k months over this kind of level, through content by scaling. But scaling doesn't come from talking to more people. It comes from speaking to one person in more depth and consistently speaking to that one person. The more that I'm scaling my brand and the businesses and also the clients I'm working with, again, they don't come from trying to add new ICPs or new products or anything like that. It's just finding different ways to offer your same product to the same person. And also just getting a more of an understanding and depth of that same person. It's actually almost going more niche, which seems counterintuitive, but it's really like even with the brand I'm building right now, like this is why story selling works so well, because a lot of this is, this has worked in info, course, kind of businesses, SaaS, agency type of stuff, like really high ticket. But this also goes the other way. It's like really, really good for just like community building. I've used it to sell clothing, e-commerce products, in-person events, community products, digital products, like literally everything, which is pretty crazy. But again, it comes down to like pursuing those business models and keeping going in that direction and building a brand around that. Doesn't come down to building more customers. It's just about hitting a one customer really, really fucking hard consistently, but then really just scaling the impact that you have on that one person. So just understand that, like, I've been speaking to the creator, founder, the inventor for 2 years. Like, I've been telling stories, resonating, showing that I am that person and documenting my life as the customer and as the founder, as the leader for 2 years. Like, also for more of that, but successfully for 2 years. And that's the type of shit that builds you brand. Because we all know brand is built over a long period of time. Like Steve Jobs defined brand as just trust. And trust is just like saying one thing and saying it well. It's like, that's what branding is. It's not saying 100 different things. It's saying one thing 100 times. And that's really going to help you build the trust around your audience and help you basically allow your story to scale. Because the final thing I'll say on this is again really important to remember and realize is that basically anyone in the space can come in and say anything now. ChatGPT and AI can give any piece of information. So information isn't the authority. It's actually the amount of context and the weight behind the information, i.e. who is saying that information. And if you're getting a piece of context or piece of information that is coming from like the exact person in your situation, you're going to trust them way more. Because if like a ChatGPT can tell you to do X amount of like do push-pull legs in the gym, then it's like, cool, thanks man, that was useful. But if your exact dream physique friend of yours tells you to do that same routine, you're like, oh my God, I'm going to do that because this person has it. It's like context, authority, and the connection of the actual person that's telling it to you becomes even more important. Let me know if you've got any questions. This is just kind of like almost a yap about story selling. All my kind of structured thoughts are in the guide and description. Just pick that up. Super simple. Literally really, really fucking simple. And I haven't seen any guides in that actionable way. So pick that up. Literally really simple. Just name, email, done. Sent to you within an instant. You probably get that before I even stop yapping for this video. Anyway, thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you want. If you want to see some more stuff, if you haven't got any specific questions about anything. And yeah, good shit. I'll see you guys in a bit.